All right, guys, it is time to cram for week 3. We got DFS, GPP final thoughts. I need to set my tournament, the Owners Club lineups. I need to do that. Might even fire at an Underdog Rumble draft here. All this on today's Exposure Cram.
I suffer from a debilitating condition known as atropic chalkitis.
Peter's one of the greatest depositors I've ever seen.
Trust the process. Let's go. Let's go.
I got auto match with Levitan. This is bullshit.
If I just go the other way in that 66, I win all the money. All the money.
If I had 150 lineups, I'd win too.
Process over results.
Illuminati make a bitch go crazy. I don't know which one of these my baby. Bust out AP, close 5 bullets in your head like KD. Bust it, bitch go bust it. And I had 10 pints with me in Russia.
Hey, everyone. Hey, everyone. How are we doing? How are we doing on this Sunday morning? I'm not going to talk like that for this whole show. Guys, Sundays are getting crazy for me. And I come into this show with such a frazzled mindset because I've been doing the Q&A in the Fantasy Life app. So it's a 30-minute Q&A. I do them on Thursday nights and Sunday mornings. And it is a fire hose of start-sit questions. And I've never had to do this many start-sit questions, and it's a lot. And what tilts me, and I know you guys probably aren't the start-sit question types, but please specify which Chase we're talking about. Please specify which Sanders, which Moore. Please give me the full league settings. Okay. All right. I got my start-sit bones to pick off my chest. How are we doing this morning? GM, everybody. I was up till 2:30 a.m. last night, minting galactic apes. I mean, what has happened to me? But do not worry. Do not worry. I'm feeling good about this slate. We have a lot of news coming in. Lots of stuff to discuss here. Thank you, guys. I'm glad you liked the new intro. It was due time to get a new intro up here. GM. I say we jump right into it and start to see what the Sims are doing. Let's see if there's anything here that might be popping for us. I am going to just run the run the Sims on this full main slate right now. This is Cooper Kupp has definitely jumped because earlier, I believe Darren Waller was the top. So we're now seeing Cooper Kupp show up 19.4%. And this is a big, exciting thing for Run the Sims. We now have projected own up here on the simulator screener, which is my favorite thing because what do we want to do? We want to be able to compare ownership to the optimal rate and start to see where we might be able to find an edge on the field. I'm curious how, if Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen, who are both showing up here, if they start to get a little bit more ownership with Cook out, or if the field just all goes to Madison and that these guys still come under. Because if this is true, if you're getting Jefferson sub 10% and you're getting Adam Thielen sub 10%, I think both of them are great plays. Nick, don't tilt me like this. Don't tilt me like this. Scotty Miller as a last man, is it too thin? So I don't think that that's bad. You know, one thing I've been thinking about is it seems like Osborne is going to be pretty chalky. Let me see what we have him at over here. Let's just see what he's Osborne. So we have him at 13.6%. And my just kind of general philosophy is I do not want to be eating the chalk at punt wide receiver. So going to someone like Scotty Miller, even though he's not showing up a ton in these optimals, I prefer that kind of dart. I assume Van Jefferson is going to be the other popular one. We got him at 2.8%. I think he's going to come in a little higher than that, but I'd rather get a little weird. I don't mind the Scotty Miller call. I would even do like Hamler as well. I think Hamler's a guy who, I don't know what's changed for Hamler. He dropped that touchdown week 1. Sutton had the big game last week, but the thesis on Hamler hasn't changed. So I would try to get away from Osborne, and thinking of guys like Scotty Miller would definitely be the way to do it. It is tough this week to find salary savings. When I've been building my late stacks, I've been, trying to go down at tight end like Russ. I've been tossing in an Everett or Disley just because there isn't a lot of cheap plays that unlock things. And that's why I'm worried that someone like Hardman is going to get steamed pretty hard. Like, I think this ownership right here is low. I think once people start hand building, once they realize how hard it is to get the builds you want, everyone's going to be desperate for this salary relief. Let's see if we just scroll up here and we're looking for like the cheap guys that are showing up. Obviously, we have CEH. He is a big decision point on the slate. I mean, when you look at this ownership at 12.8%, like if he's at that, I think he's a really good play. I'm more worried he's going to end up being in the 20% range in a lot of stuff. But you can see here, like scrolling, not a lot of cheap guys at non-tight end positions. You do see Van Jefferson show up there. I mean, there's basically nothing cheap that is popping in optimals this week. It is a very tight week. I'm still scrolling, trying to find some kind of salary savings here. Yeah, I mentioned Gerald Everett. I like him in my stacks. God, Visca, one time. But yeah, it's gross. I mean, we have to scroll all the way down here to get to a Braxton Berrios. But that is another thing you can do. Again, we talk a lot about the flexibility with the late games. And if you're going to have a punt tight end, I mentioned some of those other guys, Scotty Miller, whatever, you can leave a placeholder for like an Osborne. Like if Osborne is your favorite and you smash early, then you can still play Osborne, especially if it's in like as a bring back with a Seattle stack. I don't think you want to play a chalky one-off. But my point is, if you get behind or your early plays don't smash, then you have to go contrarian with that punt play. You can put in a Berrios, you can put in a Scotty Miller or Hamler. So just think through those swaps. That's how I've been thinking through that late slate. Let's see here. Let me try to get to some questions. I do too. I think he might be a good play. He's probably the hardest guy for me to guess his ownership today. And that makes it difficult. I was fiddling with teams last night, and he is currently in one of my 4 team shells, one of the 4 builds that I made. I find that if you temper the targets for Carson, he isn't showing up there, and he only has about 7% so far. That makes sense. And I mean, that's the whole thing with all these running backs, right? Like even CEH, who hasn't caught a lot of passes through 2 weeks, like, and what was the whole thing with Derrick Henry? Like he went from a bad play to a really good play once you give him an extra 3 catches a game. So I do think you have to be careful with adjusting that target share too much, because it is fragile in both directions for those running backs. Justin Fields has to get higher than 4%. They are pulling him at right. I think so. I think he is going to be probably the most steamed quarterback, especially because I think it's starting to get a little in vogue to like double stack the Chiefs or get in some of those expensive options and just use naked Fields as the play. So yeah, I think in small field stuff, Fields is going to end up being probably the 2nd or 3rd most popular quarterback. I think Lamar, I think Fields will be up there. Who else do we think will be up there for? Lamar, Fields, Mahomes, I think probably up there. Is it a James Conner week? I haven't considered him. I don't feel like you need to play James Conner because you can play Chase Edmonds at low ownership. So, if Chase Edmonds was getting really steamed, then I think that would make sense. But I understand the thesis you're going with. If they're big favorites and they run away with the Jags, I do think we have that like 2 touchdown game from James Conner coming at some point. I just don't know if you need to do that this week because he has such a low floor. To me, that's more of a Millie maker play. I know that sounds like a cop out, but I don't think he's in my small field single entry 3 max pool. But I mean, if you're going to play a Millie play, similar, he's kind of like the Rojo play last week, right? Where if things break right, you could see it happening, but I don't think you need to force it. Yep. This is where I'm at, Matt. I agree with that. I think he's just such an obvious value. There's no other, I guess, outside of Jared Cook, there's really no salary savings in that game. And a lot of people probably don't even want to play Cook if they're using Kelsey at tight end. So the premium doubles with Mahomes are almost impossible on this slate. And I do think CEH and Hardman are both going to catch a lot of ownerships. Let's see here. If Cook is out, are you going to eat the Madison chalk? I'd prefer going to the passing game in that case. Yeah, I don't think I plan to eat the Madison chalk, but again, I want to give myself flexibility in that 4 p.m. slate. Like, let me pull up the type of players that we have in that range and how we can start to think about it depending on how our lineups do early. So if I just query to just leave guys in the 4 p.m. slate and we look at the 6,000 flex range, you know, what I ideally would like to do is, so if you have a Madison placeholder, like in your flex, in a perfect world, I think you would have like maybe leave an extra $300 to $400 available on the table, because now all of a sudden that opens you up for Carson. It opens you up for Evans, who I think is going to go under-owned because Godwin is going to be so popular. It leaves you open to Sutton. Woods, I think, is going to catch a lot of ownership. So him and Madison will probably be, you know, similarly owned. But to me, being able to pivot if you're behind to a Sutton or an Evans or even a Carson potentially, I think makes sense. So I am going to have placeholders in my lineup to where I can play Madison if I feel like it, or if I feel like he's getting too much steam, if I feel like my team is too far behind, I am going to pivot to one of those other lower owned guys like Sutton and like Evans. So that's how I'm thinking about the Madison play. With all of these 4 p.m. games, there's very rarely one right now where I'm like, I'm playing this no matter what. You know, it's all going to be contextual on how my early guys do. This week, I think we're going to have more information at 1 p.m. than we did last week. Last week, 4 p.m. was so heavy with all the best games that I only had a couple guys going early. And that made it difficult to know exactly where your team stood. But this week, I think I'll have, 4 to 5 guys going early in most of my lineups. And that gives me a ton of information to know whether I can eat chalk late or not. So as always, I think giving yourself that flexibility late and that knowledge is helpful. And so I've been breaking ties. Like if I'm looking at defenses, I like the Falcons defense at 2,500. But I'd probably just break a tie in favor of doing the Dolphins just to give myself more flexibility late. The more spots you have to swap around with, the more you're going to be able to do what you want. Am I concerned about the weather in Buffalo? Apparently winds 25 miles per hour. So I'll tell you my barometer for being concerned is Kevin Roth from Roto Grinders, their meteorologist. He gives me updates for the Fantasy Life newsletter if he thinks there's anything that should change our lineups. And as of now, he has not messaged me. So I don't think I'm worrying about it. Let's see if he's done any tweets though. It was not on my radar until you mentioned it. So let's see. Has Roth tweeted anything about the weather? We'll see a few breezy games today, but the windiest will be in Buffalo. I expect 20 sustained gusts. That won't impact every play, but some deep throws and long field goals could get pushed off track. So to me, this is not an adjust situation. I believe historically it's like once we get over the 30 mile per hour gusts, which we got a few times last year with Cleveland, that's when we start to adjust. If anything, I kind of look forward to this if it brings down the Buffalo passing game ownership, because I'm very interested in the Josh Allen, Diggs, Sanders, and then either a McLaurin or Gibson bring back. I'm very interested in that. So this doesn't worry me. This doesn't worry me, and in fact, gets me excited if the field starts to worry about it. Did someone say today is the start of Mike Davis season? Did I really see that in here? Kyle, please don't do this to yourself. Do you like eating Madison chalk or prefer pivots like Gibson? Well, like I said, I'm thinking of Madison as an option late. It does stink that Darrell Henderson is ruled out because he was a really nice price pivot there. We were just looking at who are the other running backs. If you put a placeholder in for Madison, and I think you can do that, but I would like to give myself the $400 salary to be able to get up to Carson, or I'm going to have to consider going down to a Melvin Gordon or a Javonte Williams or a Fournette. And I can't believe I just said that. But I think you just need to be very careful to have outs. If your lineup is behind, you probably can't be eating the Madison chalk. So just be thinking of it through that lens. Kenyon Drake revenge week at sub 5%. I think Peyton Barber is going to be decently involved. But I mean, I think it's a little thin. I don't think you need to do it. I'd rather play one of the Broncos guys. They're even bigger home favorites, and both have been running the ball really well. So I'd go Gordon or Javonte and just not bother with Drake, but I get it. Yeah, we'll build our TOC lineups in a second here. Could I share Javonte's ownership? Yeah. What are we seeing Javonte at? 4% here. Let's see what our buddies over at ETR have. They have him at 3%. So yeah, I think Javonte is a very good play if he's coming in that 3 to 5% range. Yep, I think this is the exact way to handle it. You can eat the chalk once you know the context of your early lineups. Madison, this is what's crazy about DFS is like Madison can become a great play in context of your lineup or an awful play in context of your lineup, regardless of what his raw projection is. It's all contextual to how your early team did. Bengals D mix in too chalky. So I'm not messing with Bengals D today. I'm going to head over to the optimizer and see what it's spitting out. But Bengals and Titans D, I think, are going to be extremely chalky because they're both in solid spots and they're cheap. And the one thing I do not like to do is eat chalky defenses. So but I don't think Mixon is going to be chalky. I think Mixon is going to fly under the radar a little bit. But you can see here, we run the optimizer, literally one of the highest owned or most frequent appearance here is the Bengals defense. So I think you're okay with Mixon. I would probably not worry about that correlation and just get off of the chalky defense. Yep. These are the exact kind of things I think you should be thinking about. You can roll with Madison Cup if you're doing well. Sony, Justin Jefferson would be a very solid pivot there. More conceptual question, but do you find yourself correlating too much? I realized this morning I have lineups with players in the same team game who are actually negatively correlated. Well, that's two. Yeah, those are two conversations. I've been trying to think through this a lot. If you guys missed the show with Drewby on Friday, we were talking about, when are you forcing a bring back or not? And, not to belabor that conversation, but the way to think about it is when you're correlating, those players are getting a boost. Like their raw projection is now worth more to you in a lineup where they're correlated. However, they still might, even with that boost, not project better than some of the best raw values on the slate. And so that's what we're trying to weigh. If the pricing in the ownership is extremely efficient, then the correlation helps us. But in like week 1 is the best example. There were all those 3K wide receivers who were projecting really well and not catching a ton of ownership. And a lot of those were better one-off plays than just correlating within the game. Their raw projection was still more than the projection of a correlated play, even with the boost, if that makes sense. I am not playing any Big Ben today. I don't think you need to do it. I think you can play, I like wide receivers in that game. I like both Chase and Boyd. I'm leaning Chase right now based on early ownership, but I think Chase and Boyd will come in similarly. And I like Juju and Claypool a lot. I think Claypool is going to be the more popular one. So Juju's really looking nice to me. He was also popping in the simulator as well. So my thought is play mini correlations from that game, pick a Bengals wide receiver, pick a Steelers wide receiver, and then get your quarterback points elsewhere. Like that would be a spot to play a naked Justin Fields and then just get access to that. It's like, I just don't, Big Ben is just giving you so little on the ground. The offense is probably going to be even more run heavy with Deontay Johnson out. So I don't see any need to go to Ben there, but you can pick your spots. Fields Mooney stack with a Chubb comeback. So I do think Mooney is going to end up being the popular stack option with Fields. This is another thing that I talked about with Drewby, how tournament single entry ownership can often follow what the cash game builds are doing. And because a lot of people are going to be playing Fields in cash, because Mooney has been even out producing, or at least getting more burn than Allen Robinson, and he's much cheaper at 4,200, I think he's going to be very popular. I was trying to find some kind of punt option with Fields. I was trying to talk myself into a Demir Bird or Goodwin play. It's too gross. So I think everyone's going to get funneled to Mooney. That said, I think your Chubb comeback is narratively, that makes sense as a correlation where the Browns are up and then Fields, Mooney are coming back. I don't know how sneaky it will be outside of Chubb though. So I think I'm leaning toward, just in the lineup where I play Fields, I'm leaning toward just going naked with him. But I think Mooney's completely fine. I think he's a good play. I just don't think he's that sneaky. Yep. This is one lineup I have right now. I like the Allen, Diggs, Gibson. I've really been waffling on the Washington bringback because we've seen in the 2-minute drill passing down situations, Gibson is losing work to McKissick. So that could get dangerous if the Bills get up, by more than a touchdown. If they keep it within a touchdown, I think Gibson's an awesome play, and running back so gross this week that I like just being able to get a cheap correlated running back. I also obviously think Terry McLaurin is in play, but he just gets really expensive. Like once you're doing Diggs and McLaurin and Allen, it really starts to squeeze your lineup elsewhere. I do think tossing in a secondary Bills wide receiver makes sense because all three of Sanders, Beasley, and Gabriel Davis are appropriately priced, and I think makes sense. In the games where Allen and Diggs really reach their ceiling, I do think more of the offense is coming along. So I prefer to double stack Allen this week because you're also getting the salary savings that are very much needed. Let's see here. Hammering Carson Jefferson back to 100% Mahomes, no regrets. I like the Carson Jefferson calls. I think Carson will probably go slightly underlooked relative to the other running backs, especially because everyone's going to be excited to play Madison now. I wanted to go back and look at I mentioned Juju, and I just wanted to confirm that he was up here at the top of the optimal results. Let's see here. Yeah, Juju now third. Waller. So now our three most recently mentioned players are the top here as far as how frequently they are appearing in the sim. So just to reiterate, this is a sim on the entire week 3 main slate. We're looking to see how often they appear in the optimal lineups. Justin Jefferson, almost 20% of the time. Waller, 18.3%. Juju, 17.7% of the time. So definitely nice to get that vote of confidence that the field is not as excited about these players as the math is. Preferred bring back for Waller. Yeah, I've been looking at this and it's tough. I think I slightly prefer Waddle, but I think Parker is fine as well. And I even think if you want a clackety clack on Will Fuller, that works. But Waddle is my preferred bring back right now. I have this mini in one of my lineups. Actually, sorry, it's not. I don't have Javonte. I had a Noah Fant, Elijah Moore. Moore to me, I don't have conviction on Moore. It was a correlation and salary thing where, again, it's so hard to find salary savings. I believe he did have 8 targets last week. You have to imagine they're throwing a ton. So I could see him having a solid PPR day. We saw Braxton Berrios was the one popping in this one. I think I prefer Elijah Moore if I'm going that route, but I don't mind that correlation. How are you handling Arizona? I can't talk this morning. How are you handling Arizona completely fading an injured Hopkins, playing him if everyone is afraid, going to Rondell? So I'm worried about Hopkins. The stuff I was reading about him didn't sound great. I always trust Gene Bramall over at Football Guys, and he had a little blurb about DeAndre Hopkins that I can pull up here from this morning. He said, DeAndre Hopkins expected to play, but mostly because he always does. Rib injuries are different than lower grade soft tissue injuries. Hopkins won't have as much control over situational aggravation. Likely active, can be productive, but floor lower than usual. Here's my gal brain thought, Nick, and I know this is going to surprise no one, but Christian Kirk is my preferred way to play this. Because I do think with the uncertainty to DeAndre Hopkins, I think Rondell Moore is going to become very popular, especially after that game last week. But Christian Kirk ran more routes, was on the field more than him. I love Rondell. He looks incredible every time he touches the ball. I think he could have a good game. But I think the probabilities of Kirk and Rondell having a ceiling game or whatever, really smashing at their salary, I think they're pretty similar. And so in that case, I think we always just from a process standpoint want to play the lower owned guy. So I am not going super hard at this game right now. I don't have any game stacks, but I do have a couple minis. I have like an Edmonds, DJ Chark, and I do think I also have a Chenault and Christian Kirk. So similar to that Steelers-Bengals game, I'm kind of picking my spots with a couple of these mini correlations. Yeah, I feel like my player pool is pretty tight today. Let's see. Are you going to manage to fit into Mahomes' team today? I can't fit Mahomes, but I am going to get some exposure to the Chiefs. I have one lineup where I mentioned I'm trying the naked fields with a Mahomes Kelsey. It's still very tight, and I might come off it. But again, I probably will end up having some kind of, maybe an Eckler Tyreek or an Eckler Kelsey. I'm probably going to go the mini route, a CEH Keenan Allen, and just hope I can nail the right producers from that game. I'm just having a really hard time getting a lot of pieces just with everyone priced up. Yeah, I think Michael Carter, to me, that's more of a Millie play. I don't really think that's something you need to force in single entry in 3 max. And I also think Ty Johnson is going to be involved a lot in the passing game. But I don't hate it. I don't hate it just because running back is so gross. If you want to do a little correlation with a Sutton or a Hamler or a Noah Fant with Carter. But to me, it's a little thin for single entry in 3 max. Play Odell, James says. Yeah, I see it. I get it. I mean, both him and Fuller are tough. The Odell stuff is so weird that the Browns too have just been even more run heavy than we thought. I think we all were hoping they would be a little bit more pass balance this year, and that just hasn't been the case. And now they're pretty big favorites against the Bears. I worry about Odell in his first game back and the team even needing to throw that much. I feel like that's a little bit dangerous, but again, in a GPP, I think it makes sense. Thoughts on Cephas? I smell a Detroit upset and can't shake it. So I do have a Lamar team right now, and I'm going with DeAndre Swift as my bring back, but I think Hawkinson, Cephas, and Swift are all solid bringbacks. I don't really want to play it fully through the Detroit side, but again, we've been talking about how hard it is to find salary relief on this slate. Getting Cephas at 3,900 in a bring back at low ownership, I think is perfectly fine. How does this slate get flipped on its head at inactives? I don't know if there's anything that can truly flip it on its head right now. I guess if DeAndre Hopkins was ruled out, I think that would be pretty interesting. I'm trying to think. Kenny Golladay could very much get ruled out, but I think we're all assuming that. I don't see a lot that can flip it on its head. Like, I mean, all the big news is pretty much in. Henderson, unlikely to go. Dalvin Cook, unlikely to go. T. Higgins, unlikely to go. Josh Jacobs, unlikely to go. So I feel like we've already adjusted for all of this stuff. And the 49ers don't play until what? Monday night? So Shanahan is the one that I think is most at risk of always flipping the slate on its head, and he's not involved in this slate. Do you think just stacking Fields is smart, seeing how A-Rob isn't getting much of anything and it could give you leverage off all the people using naked Fields? Well, this is what I'm wrestling with. I do think Fields to Mooney will ultimately be the most popular construction, but us gal brain GPP bros, like I didn't listen to Wake and Rake, but I assume Leone was touting naked Fields. If I'm touting naked Fields, I don't know, maybe enough people start touting naked Fields that it becomes the most popular, but I still think Mooney is going to be the preferred option with Fields as opposed to naked. A-Rob or Komet? I mean, A-Rob is going to be really under-owned, right? I mean, just with Mooney producing well, I mean, I'm seeing Allen Robinson at 5.5% ownership. That's probably like, if you want to get max leverage with your Fields, I mean, do A-Rob or Komet. I think both are valid. I'd probably lean A-Rob. Let's see here. Do you think you're getting significant leverage over the field in GPPs if you're matching ownership on a high-owned guy if you've X'd out 2 other high-owned guys because your lineups differ? I don't know if I understand this question. Over the field, if you're matching ownership on a high... See, to me, again, this goes back to the whole thing about when you're getting your information. And if you're just matching ownership with high-owned guys early on, you're not getting an information advantage, because you're now just heading into the late games with a 7v7 or whatever, because you ate that chalk. So I was talking about this in the Discord last night with people too. I'm much more willing to eat chalk later than I am earlier. Yeah, this is a hard one. If you give me a specific example, I might be able to understand it better. I think I understand what you're saying, which is like, if I'm going contrarian elsewhere, can I eat some chalk? And I think we just want to be careful of where we're doing it. Best stack option with Danny Dimes. I think there's a couple decent ones. I think Shepard obviously makes a ton of sense. I think Ingram back with just how gross this tight end slate is too. I think he makes sense. And honestly, if you want to toss Barkley into a Danny Dimes, like if you did a Dimes, Barkley, Ingram, I think it's viable and probably a way to get a little unique around popular Barkley. What tight ends can we play so I don't click Hawk? So I'm doing some gross stuff with the Seahawks. I think I slightly prefer Everett, but I think Everett and Disley are fine. I like Noah Fant. I like Andrews. I like Kelsey. I like Waller. Obviously, Kelsey and Waller are hard to fit, but I'm going to try to get at least one of those expensive ones into my lineups. I would say my favorite plays, though, are the Seattle tight ends and Noah Fant right now. Yes, my boy Christian Kirk. We're back. Christian Kirk. Pete, I just tagged a pic on Twitter for you. I found Davis at Disney. Do we need any takes from him? Oh, God, I'm scared to look at this. I'm very scared to look at this. That does actually look like Davis. And he's wearing a Jalen Ramsey jersey. Aren't you scared? Isn't Davis scared about Jalen Ramsey today? Claypool, Chase, Moore. What's the question? Are you asking me a start sit question? That's for the Fantasy Life app. Any news on Hollywood Brown? He sounds like he's fine. He practiced in full on Friday. I think Marquise Brown is good to go. I have an Eckler Tyreek in my main fields lineup. Think it looks pretty good. Pricey, closed in on me really quick though. Yeah, I think Eckler Tyreek with a Fields. I think that makes sense. All right, I can't keep up with the chat. You guys are firing. I do need to build. I literally haven't set my my entries yet for the Owners Club. So we are going to do that right now. You guys get to watch me talk through this as I set this up. I'm definitely running one Bills stack here. I mean, I'm going to be running stacks in all of these. So let me see what other stacks I'm going to do. Quarterback. I think we'll do another. I think we also have to do another Seattle stack because I always like using those. And then who do we want to use for this last stack? Jags could be fun. Jags could be fun. I don't think I could also go with, what are my stack options? Maybe we do Jags. I feel like Jags could be pretty fun. Let's do that. We'll get really funky here and see if Trevor Lawrence can go off. Now we need to pick some running backs. My running back situation is not great. Last week I did the Tennessee and Seattle. Let's see. Let's do, because my Jags are the most contrarian, and I think Tennessee running back will be the most popular. I think I would rather go with my most contrarian stack with my most chalky running back. And then I'm not going to use, obviously, Seattle running back with Seattle pass catcher. So I'm going to toss Seattle running back into this Bills one. And then what do I want to do here? Denver, I like that. Versus the Jets, getting both Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams. I like that. Let's see what we have at tight end here. I'm going to do a bring back with my Bills because I have Washington tight end here. Oops. I want Washington tight end up here. So trying to get some correlation in there. We'll go Bills stack with the Washington football team bring back. I don't think I'm going to force a stack with the Seattle one. That seems pretty gross. I think we'll continue down the same path down here because we have the contrarian Jag stack. I'll throw Raiders tight end in this one. And then I think we obviously have to get in some Chiefs tight end. We'll toss Chiefs tight end with this lineup. This is coming together nicely. And now let's get some defenses here. I don't think this is going to be too chalky. Who are my best defenses I got? Baltimore's good. Arizona's good. I guess Los Angeles is fine, although I don't really want to use them. Seattle could be good. Let's use down here. We'll continue with this theme just because I don't think a lot of people are going to be doing Jags. Let's do Baltimore here. Let's do Cardinals here. And we will do we want to correlate? Let's play this as if this Seattle game just kind of tanks a little bit, or the Vikings kind of tank. And we'll roll with Seattle DST. Someone asked, what is this? So our friends over at On the Moment, they launched an NFT-based DFS game called the Owners Club. And they did an initial pack drop. You get it's team position. So it's not by player. And then they have contests that you set weekly. And obviously these are 5 card lineups: 1 quarterback, 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 1 defense. You win cash prizes. I finished like 56th or 57th last week in their main event tournament, and I won $250. First place each week gets a seat to a live final that they're going to be hosting in Miami. And then there's also a secondary marketplace where you can go and flip and buy cards that you want to complete. So for instance, one purchase I made this week was I had San Francisco wide receiver. I like having stacks, and I think San Francisco quarterback is undervalued right now, while Jimmy G's still quarterback. So I went and added in the marketplace this week, San Francisco quarterback to my collection. So that is it. If you have questions in the Deposit Kingdom Discord, we have an Owners Club channel, and you can hop in there. Lots of people talking strategy. Also, I'm going to have Justin on tomorrow night. He's going to do my showdown cram with me. And we're also going to talk some more Owners Club stuff because they have some new announcements coming down the pipeline. They're doing a giveaway. They have another pack drop coming, and I think some announcements on new contests. So we'll get the lowdown from Justin tomorrow. And if you have questions, people in the Discord can help you. I do need to set my side hustle lineup as well here. The side hustle is just 2, and I will probably just do a stack that I think is going to not be super popular over here. I think I'll do my Chicago stack. We'll do my Chicago stack and Chicago wide receiver. So there you have it. I'm now maxed in the main event and in the side hustle. That's what I love about Owners Club. It's like after you've done all your DFS research, you can come in here in 5-10 minutes and get your lineup set, which is always a good time. I won't dupe you. How about this? How about you don't dupe me, because my lineups are literally on the screen. And you know exactly what I'm doing. It is silly and it's very fun. And it takes away the tilt of like, you know, which 49ers running back is going to score. It doesn't matter. You just play 49ers running back. That's why generally like having to decide which Broncos running back is going to go off today would stink. Here, I get the whole backfield. Let's see this. Glad you're enjoying the coverage. Wait, someone said the side hustle had the same side hustle. Ivan, all right, let's go change it. That's all I needed to hear to go change it. We are going back. Oh, and yeah, I should add some other ones here. Well, I guess we're just gonna leave one of these side hustles in, right? No, this is what we'll do. We'll go quarterback, tight end. We'll just really galaxy brain it. Let's do. I don't think I have many other good correlations here. Let's get off the wall. Oops. We'll do my San Francisco stack here. And I don't think I did my Philly one yet. We'll do Philly. This is great radio as I get this. Let's do Philly wide receiver. All right, there we go. Now I'm set. Please don't dupe me. Please don't dupe me. Okay. All right. Let's I kind of wanted to do a quick battle royale because I've been having fun with these here. And then we'll wrap up. Like I said, my schedule, we will be here tonight at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time for the tilt space. And then I will be back in the morning at 10 a.m. with my lineup review. And I will be back on Monday night with Justin tomorrow to do a showdown cram and talk more Owners Club happenings. Trying to think if there's anything else you guys need to know. Obviously, if you like what you're seeing over at Run the Sims, get signed up, 10% off, promo code Pete, get you access to the Discord. Lots of good stuff going on in the Discord. People sharing their own proprietary spreadsheets, good information, lineup building ideas, all that. You can also get access to that Discord channel by becoming a YouTube member. It's the DFS Bros, or not DFS Bros, Hand Builders and Opto Bros tier with the YouTube membership, and that gives you access to that channel. All right, let's see here. We got the 102. The 102 this week is probably Henry or Hill, right? Probably just take whichever one of those. Wow, Kyler Murray. All right, we'll do Derrick Henry. We'll just do it. I do think that's one of the, it depends which draft you're in, but you can sometimes get the people who do just take the quarterback early, though I think it's generally optimal to take your quarterback not in the first round in this format. Yeah, what the hell? Just a wise man once told me it costs nothing to like a video you're watching on YouTube. Thank you, Miss Kristen. I appreciate it. Yeah, we need a sweat tonight. Oh, I should also mention for my bankroll challenge this. Wait, oh, look who's in here. Andy 8052. This guy has crypto conferences. He's building a crypto company, and he still has time to just be grinding these every day. Shout out to Andy. Let's see what Andy does here. What did Andy do? Tyreek Hill. Yep. Nice play. Oh, yeah. I meant to say, I'm playing a little more volume than I usually do today. So I'm doing, my DraftKings missions, and they're charging me more for my missions. Last year it was like register in a contest over $50. I wake up this morning, it was like register in a contest over $150. I was like, come on. So the next thing you know, I'm in the power sweep. But I do just want to get it on record. What is going to be bankroll challenge eligible this week? I am done at running back. Let's see if I can get Diggs. I would like Diggs, but I'll settle for Cooper Kupp. No, we're going to do Diggs. So this is what I'm playing this week. Let's see here. I am registered for, this is all that matters, possible winnings, 1.5 million. So I'm in the 2 regular spies and in the double spy, and then they got me to do the power sweep. But for the single entry bankroll challenge, I'm just doing these 3 spies. This is based on my $2,000 bankroll for the challenge. This is probably reckless bankroll management. Don't attempt this at home. But I am just putting on the record, all 3 spies I am going to use. All right, let's see here. What do I want to do? What do I want to do? I need to get some DK Metcalf. I have this feeling in my gut, like a defense breaks the slate this week. Who you got? So my favorite break the slate defense, if I can afford them based on ownership, ceiling, matchup, is the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns at 3,200. They have a nice, according to Brandon Thorne, offensive line mismatch. You got Justin Fields scrambling around, probably going to make some errors. Low ownership, modest price tag. I like the Browns. Yeah, DraftKings has me like it's absurd because now that I'm in the routine of doing my missions, it's like they just get me. Also, I am going for this stupid Cool Cat. It's such a waste, although maybe we'll get some overlay. Maybe it's not quite as bad if this Cool Cat contest has some overlay. The Deposit Kingdom GPP did fill up, which, by the way, guys, don't join this other one. I accidentally had a recurring event that got started here. So okay, this isn't going to fill. So as a PSA, next week, this will show up once again because it's recurring. And the way DraftKings setup works is it doesn't go away until it doesn't fill 2 weeks in a row. So thank you for not filling this. Don't fill it this week. Don't fill it next week. I am going to continue to work to try see if we can get this Deposit Kingdom GPP bigger. All right, now that we're doing here, what quarterbacks do we have available? So I can do Josh and I can do Russ. What bringbacks do I have available? I could do Thielen. I think that makes sense. I could also do Terry. Let's see. Let's go ahead and do, man, should I take, yeah, I think we could probably wait on Josh Allen. Yeah, we can wait on him so we can get our preferred. We'll do Thielen. I'm going to have a lot of Jefferson in DFS, so we can hedge our Jefferson exposure here with some Thielen. The deposit bonus on Underdog is now $10. So if you haven't signed up, you can get $10 off with promo code Pete on Underdog, or not $10 off. You get a free $10 bonus in your account, and you can hop in these Royal Rumbles with me and Andy. You will see Andy in your drafts. Andy loves the drafts. A LaMelo cool cat or a Sabonis cool cat? This is a profile picture cool cat. Smiz just bought one. All right, I'm on the clock again. Let's just get Josh Allen. We'll get this stat going. And basically my strategy with these has been get a stack, get a bring back, and then try to get a slightly off the wall last pick. So I will probably do a secondary correlation here, and I'll probably toss in Logan Thomas. Even though I prefer Andrews and Pitts, I think Logan Thomas probably doesn't get drafted in the majority of these. So I'll add a highly variant position that's pretty touchdown reliant. We get unique and we get correlation with the Josh Allen double stack, or not double stack, but single stack. So that's what it's going to be. Yeah, the Underdog pick'ems are very fun. We can check on those as well, but I actually have to get going here with inactive news coming out. I got to wrap up the Fantasy Life newsletter, see if we have any other final news bombs. All right, the chat's giving out their favorite plays. Broncos, Buffalo, Javonte Williams. Yeah, the cool cat, I mean, the floor on cool cats has gone up like a couple ETH just in the past few days. And the cool cat that they have up for the top prize is not a floor cool cat. It's a crown cool cat, which I find myself when I buy NFT projects, I like getting the ones with crowns. I got to stay on brand with the Deposit King and Deposit Kingdom. All right, guys, I appreciate you all hanging out with me today. Like I said, with my schedule, I will be back with a lineup review at 10 a.m. tomorrow, Showdown Cram with Justin. And then tonight over on ETR's channel, we got the Tilt Space. Should be a good one. Also down here, the store, overzet.myshopify.com. I have hoodies up, and I've been taking requests too. So if you have requests for specific merch, it's not too hard. And I just found out, if you're in Canada, Australia, or New Zealand, I have free shipping through October. So you can literally have anything shipped to Canada, Australia, New Zealand for free from the store. I have the links down below to check out the store. I appreciate you guys. There's also the audio feed if you ever want to listen to any of these shows in audio version. I'm all plugged out. Good luck in week 3. Let's go. I hope your hands have calluses on them.